Hello, and welcome to Night Child Reviews. Uh, it is great to be back. It's been a while, and this is something that I've wanted to do for a while, but various things have happened, and I just wanted to really check in with the Prince community. I love you guys, and it's something that I think obviously there's a lot of things potentially coming up in the future. Nothing confirmed, but it'd be interesting to talk about how you feel about those things, what you're looking forward to, but also some other things about Prince. Because for me, there's been a lot of opportunities to kind of look back at Prince's back catalogue and his work, and particularly live shows. And I really want to talk about that. I want to talk about Prince's positive effect on mental health and how he really has helped me through some difficult times, and that has really meant so much to me. So there's a lot of different things that I just wanted to talk about today. Just going to let people start to join, but I think it's just just going to be just a chat, basically, just a kind of a way to see how we're all feeling, how we're all doing. It's a bit of a weird time to be a Prince fan in some ways, but yeah. So that's all it is. I just want to talk about the way Prince has helped me in a kind of really positive sense. So we're just going to let people start to join, and then hopefully we'll have a discussion. And obviously, love to hear, obviously your comments as well. The kind of things you want to chat about, and we can talk about those things too. So hopefully that will be something we can discuss. On a personal note, I'll be honest. I've kind of had some struggles recently, kind of with mental health and things like that, and I think it's something that really Prince has helped enormously with, because whenever I feel kind of down, even if I listen to a Prince song that's quite quite melancholic, like So Blue, or Sometimes It Snows in April, or Old Friends for Sale, it still brings me that it kind of lifts me up in a way that perhaps you wouldn't really think it would. Even though it's a melancholic song, you get so immersed in that song, you get so kind of I suppose just drawn into that song, that it just makes a big difference to me. And even though I have sort of struggled a fair bit recently, it's when I haven't listened to Prince that it's been a lot worse. And it's really interesting. And sometimes you forget the most obvious thing when you feel down. You forget the most obvious thing that brings you joy. And for a while, I hadn't listened to Prince for a little while, and I just took some time to go out, walk about, listen to Prince's, and I put it on a kind of random track list, just whatever pops up. And I've got to say, the way it just takes your mind off everything that's going on in your life for that moment. For me, you're in Prince world, you're in Paisley Park, in your mind, you're kind of thinking about his tracks, his ability, and you just get immersed in that world, and it just takes you out of yourself. And that is such an incredibly brilliant thing to have. And I just I think that music is medicine, as Prince said. Music is medicine, and I think that's something that is absolutely key to understanding Prince. Really key to kind of being a Prince fan. That music has this sense of, mentally, it can just heal you. It can just heal you. So I'm going to put that in the chat there. Music is medicine. I think if I forget everything else at the moment, I think that's the thing I should remember, because he has certainly helped me recently a great deal. And it's when I didn't listen to Prince, and that's such a stupid thing, because I just, for a few days, I felt quite low. I didn't listen to Prince. I couldn't, and I just didn't. And then putting on the track, that changed it. Just, and it was weird because it was one of the first tracks I listened to was So Blue, and it's mad because it's such a powerfully sad song, but it really lifted me up because it just, there's something about Prince's music that just, this is going to sound really stupid. I know people are going to think I'm mad, but there's something about Prince's music that does something that no other music does to me. There's something about, I don't know whether it's his voice, I don't know whether it's just the way he arranges backing vocals, or the way he arranges bass, the way he arranges all these, all the instruments. I don't know what it is, but there's something about Prince that just doesn't, it hits me in a way that nobody else hits me. It just comforts me. It just brings me a kind of special place that I can't put my finger on, and it always has done that. He doesn't sound like anyone else to me, and that's incredibly powerful. And I think that's a really important thing, that music is medicine. Whilst we're all Prince fans, we are a community. We're an online community, but that's crucially important, that we all still look out for each other. It's very easy to get drawn into this social media of, that's brilliant, that's terrible, this is great, this is awful. It's very easy to be divisive. It's very easy to see a stupid comment. You think, oh, how can a person say that? Or you see some comment, even if it's somebody saying something horrible about Prince, or just dismissing him, and you think, oh, how can they say that? That's so ridiculous. But you just, the joy, if they knew the joy he kind of brings, he's brought my life, and the friends he's brought my life, it's incredible. The Prince community has, I don't think I didn't intend to say this, but the Prince community, honestly, I think has saved my life. I really do, because the people I've met, the kind of the experiences I've had, the journey I've had with his music, the times I've listened to his music when I felt angry, or I felt stressed, or I felt annoyed, or I felt just sad, has been phenomenal. So I just wanted to say that. Also, before we begin, I just want to say that obviously we've lost two people today. First of all, obviously Sinead O'Connor, and for me, I've listened to a lot of her music. One of my favorite songs is Fourth and Vine by Sinead, and she was always very much an individual artist, and she wasn't somebody who sort of caught the mainstream, and she has gone through some pretty difficult stuff. And I know in the Prince community, there's lots of different opinions about her, but as someone who has struggled with mental health, I don't understand, because I can't fully appreciate her situation, but I know that she fought, and my thoughts are with her. And obviously she lost her son, and I just want to say, I wish her absolute peace. And we also lost Ian Boxhill. Ian Boxhill worked on Planet Earth, 3121. I believe he was behind Deliverance, working with Prince, and he sadly passed away too, and he's going to be a great loss. It's hard to get your head around some of these things, and we've been there, because we've all lost someone either we knew or an artist, and we know how that feels. Sorry to start off such a melancholic note, but I thank you guys, and I would really like to talk about those things, and just to say that even though I get hell of a nervous doing these things, and even though this is not my natural sphere whatsoever, I mean, I'm not somebody like Michael Dean who can just, he's just so, he gets on with people so well, or Violent Reality, they're very confident, and I just, that's not me at all. But in a sense, I'll be honest, I need you guys more than I can tell you. So anyway, with that said, I really want to talk about what the Prince estate are going to do in August. Now, there was obviously the announcement that new music will be announced in August, but they were very vague. It's very mysterious, very vague. And I saw Chaz, Prince's cousin, saying he's going to meet up with some members of Prince's family. I think it was on the 7th or 8th of August. So I'm kind of thinking maybe that's when they make the announcement. I haven't heard anything officially, but that's certainly where they have, intimated they'll be meeting up. Now, if that is the 7th or 8th of August, and that's only, what's that, a couple of weeks away. So, potentially not long. Now, obviously, and I think, Carlos has mentioned it. I'm hoping to see a super deluxe edition of Diamonds and Pearls, or even Controversy, as well as maybe even Dirty Mind. Now, obviously, the Diamonds and Pearls, we've seen the leaked kind of version of Diamonds and Pearls, the deluxe, although not the super deluxe. We've seen the kind of a few remixes and various things, and that is going to be very interesting to see if they bring that. Now, to me, that's what he made. That's out there. That leak was official. Surely that looked official. That had the NPG logos on it. That had everything. And I think that, to me, surely must be their next step. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just want to say these comments coming through, and I just want to say thank you so much. I really want to say thank you so much. G, 40 years. It is the soundtrack to our lives. We say that, but it is true. It's absolutely true. It really is absolutely true. And I want to thank you guys. That's Christian, Danny, GB. You know how I feel about you guys. You are the brothers I never had. You really, really are. I can't appreciate that enough. I really can't. I just want to say thank you for that. Now, the thing is, although the Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe have been leaked, there's very strong reason to think they're going to do a sort of 40-year sort of super duper deluxe with cheese of Purple Rain. Because obviously, even though they've done Purple Rain a number of times, with the 40th year anniversary, some people are saying there's still things they want. The time shows, obviously from that perhaps Apollonia videos, another live concert, things like that. Now, that's weird because in the Prince camp, I see two kind of movements. On one hand, there are people saying, we're done with Purple Rain, we need to move on. We need to move on to Diamonds and Pearls. We need to move on to Parade. We need to move on to different things. We can't just focus about Purple Rain. We can't make Prince the Purple Rain guy. That's not enough. That's to narrow him to this very small kind of unit. Some people say that. Now, other people say, well, we need to do it right. If we do it right, fully, completely, include Des Dickerson, include the time, include Apollonia, include, everything, different live shows, different live concerts. We do it once, we do it absolutely huge, we do it right, and then we move on. And it's difficult because on one hand, I am very keen to move on to different parts of Prince's discography. I think that's really, really important to stop making Prince the Purple Rain guy. But on the other hand, I understand the public are going to be very interested in a 40th year anniversary to an extent, and it's probably the last big anniversary for a while. So, the estate are going to want to maximize that and get as much out of that because that's a gateway into Prince. So, I don't know. I'd be interested to know what you think. I'm not sure what the best way to go is. I mean, I can understand both sides of it. I really can. So I'd just be interested in what you think. If you want to check you can hear me okay on this mic. This mic's having a mind of its own today, but hopefully you can hear me. I've been trying to make it louder and louder, but me and technology, man. But yeah, I really hope that they announce something that kind of surprises us and gives us more. The Diamonds and Pearls was interesting, the one that was leaked unofficially, but obviously it didn't have lots of things we hadn't seen. But then it wasn't necessarily the super deluxe that was leaked. There was a deluxe, but we don't know if there was a bigger version. The fact that it was all done and it looked done to me said that they were ready and they were ready to go. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened there because they just stopped, which is really, really surprising. And I don't really understand that. So I'm not sure why that is. Some people have said, let's do Diamonds and Pearls. Let's do a Purple Rain. Let's do a kind of First Avenue. Obviously, we had the Before the Rain video. Let's get that out there and get Purple Rain done once and for all, big and bold and huge, and then move on. It's different. Vas Christian, is the worry is, since Apple have a hand in the First Avenue show, the 40th anniversary still may end up lacking. And this is a huge concern because there is only so many times we can go back to Purple Rain. I mean, we've had version after version after version. We've had the live concert. We've had deluxe, super, you name it. We've been back and forth, and I think that's an issue because we have to. I'm not saying there'll ever be a final word on Purple Rain. There'll always be new things, but as much as possible, the estate really need, if they're going to do Purple Rain, if they're going to do it, and like I said, I have no reason to know if they are or they're not. But with the 40th anniversary, I strongly suspect they'll do something. But if they are, they have to do it as close to the final word as possible. And do you know what? Couldn't agree more. GB Music. It would be great to release the soundtrack to the film with all the tracks, associated artists, and the score. Really, really good point. Along with the vault tracks on vinyl for the first time. That's the thing. You put that in a big package. You put that with, live concerts that we haven't seen. You put that with live audio we haven't had, and we released. Because the thing is, Purple Rain. That's the thing about Prince soundtracks is that there's actually no Prince soundtrack that I can think of really that has everything. If you think about it, Purple Rain doesn't have all the Purple Rain songs. It doesn't have the Time songs. It doesn't have Modern Air. It doesn't have Apollonia. It doesn't have the score. Parade doesn't have Love or Money or Alexa de Paris and various other things. And then Graffiti Bridge, whilst it has most of them, doesn't have number one from Robin. It doesn't have there's other tracks as well. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but there are other tracks that it doesn't have. Ingrid Gervais, Seven Corners. There are lots of things that that doesn't have. That Graffiti Bridge is probably closer, but Purple Rain is missing so much, and it's not a soundtrack per se because yes, all the tracks on the album are on the in the film, but all the ones in the film are not on the albums. So that's interesting. PL, hello. Oh, I love your portrait. I love that picture of Prince. I've got to say, I really do. I know a lot of fans want to move on from Purple Rain, but if the estate could fix what Warner's messed up with in 2017, that would be great. And this is the thing. I mean, I know there's been a lot of talk about the transition of the estate and, Londell, Macmillan, Charles Spicer, lots of people getting involved. But the thing is, and they've got to kind of build up the momentum. Now, everybody agrees, whatever your opinion of the estate is at the moment, everybody agrees that things were ramping up before. We had, when you look at the releases we had, when you look at the Purple Rain releases, the 1999 Super Deluxe, the Sign of the Time Super Deluxe, you see things ramping up. You see a momentum being built, and that is key. And that momentum has stalled. Now, whatever your opinion, there are lots of reasons for that. Some people say, well, it's the business because they've had to, separate the estate into two pieces and people aren't on the same board and they're trying to sort a lot of things out. But obviously, also from a fan's perspective, it's been 7 years, but we've kind of had, we were getting somewhere. We're kind of building up steam. And it's very much an analogy of an old steam train. Once it slows down, it takes a lot to get it going again. And I think that's a really key point. We've got to get that momentum building again. And that's going to be hard. And I think that's a key thing. Danny, right comment there. Purple Rain was obviously the first deluxe CD ever released, and we all knew it was severely lacking the quantity of what was in the vault. I'm happy for the estate to do a proper full Sign of the Times size SDE next. Now that would be brilliant. I mean, to do everything, to get that out there, to really, because the thing about Prince, we all know he was working on so much at any one time, and there's so many things you could put in there. And I'm sure there's other stuff that we probably maybe even don't know about. I mean, they've had access to the vault for a long time now. They must know the things that they have. But you know what? It's right. I think the consensus certainly seems to be at the moment from the comments here to do it right, move it on. So SMS 130. Hey, I would love for the estate to release that SDE of Diamonds and Pearls this year and let it shine. Next year, give us the SDE of Purple Rain. Move on from there and celebrate those other classics. And that's the thing, because a lot of people feel as if we haven't done. It sounds mad because we've done Purple Rain a number of times, but we haven't done it. We haven't sort of completely finished it, sort of completely got it the best version we could possibly get. And it feels a bit weird to say that, because I don't get lots of people saying they want another 1999 Super Deluxe. They thought that was brilliant. That's arguably, for me, probably my favorite Super Deluxe so far, the 1999, because there was things I didn't know so much about. And 1999 Super Deluxe, I loved. The Sign of the Times, again, so much in there, so many tracks, and so much, I don't hear people saying they want to do that again, but I do hear people saying Purple Rain, hasn't fully kind of been completed. And I think that's a key thing. So we need to do it, and we need to do it right. That's Christian. As you've seen this week from the Spotify Top 25, for anybody who hasn't seen that video, it's on my channel. It's Prince's top 25 tracks on Spotify. Vas Christian points out people are listening to Purple Rain via the 2017 remaster. This is a shame, as it could sound better. Now, this is interesting because for people who haven't seen, obviously, I would suggest please watch my video. I need every view, please. But the top 25 is interesting because obviously Purple Rain features highly, but they're almost always the 2017 and 2015, the 2015, Paisley Park remasters. And that's interesting because people are listening to it through that. Now, why they're doing that is because probably that's what Spotify are perhaps highlighting, or perhaps what the estate are pushing out, but they're the ones that are getting the listens. So people aren't actually listening to the original versions, they listen to the remasters, which is interesting. It's something I bring up in the video, and it's definitely worth checking out because any views I get for this poor little channel would be very much appreciated. So I just want to, it's definitely worth checking out. Joanna, welcome, Joanna. I would love to have the Montreux concerts 2013 on DVD. I mean, for me, we've said this before, but for me, the Montreux videos, 2009 and 2013, they are such easy wins because they're professionally filmed. I'm sure they've got high quality versions of those. You think, put them out. I particularly like the 2013 because you see Prince in different aspects. You see him as the guitar hero in one of the concerts, but you also see him as the band leader in one of the shows, really leading the band, this full orchestra, effectively, of musicians, kind of just, and that's impressive. You see Prince also as just a vocalist, focusing on his vocals, so it shows these different sides of Prince every night with something different. And 2013, the video footage I've seen already looks amazing. So to me, get that out there. That's such an easy win. And I said this before, and I don't want to sound like a stuck record, but I've always believed you should never, ever, 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 ever have a Christmas without a Prince project coming out where you can buy it for someone who's a Prince fan, whether it's Montreux, whether it's Diamonds and Pearls, whether it's Purple Rain, whatever. There should never be a year that passes when you can't buy some great present for the Prince fan in your life, And as Prince fans, if somebody wants to buy us a nice Super Deluxe for Christmas, then who are we to say? I think that's a really, really, really key thing. SMS 130, the estate was scared to do a Super Deluxe style release of Purple Rain back in 2017. Originally, that First Avenue show was going to be included along with other unreleased recordings as well, which is really interesting. So they were, something they obviously maybe they considered, and that is a shame. That is a shame because that leads into what Danny said, and I think that's a key point. The bootleggers filling the gap the estate aren't providing, sadly, and that's the thing, because bootleggers will, whatever you think about bootleggers, they go to the market. What people want, they sell. It's in their interests to sell what people want, because otherwise they won't make any money. So they have no kind of particular agenda. They just want to sell what people want and what people will buy. So that's the thing. They'll step into that breach. And the thing is, we'd rather have official product. I think all of us would rather have official product that's done well and high quality. Absolutely. With the money going to the estate, keeps Paisley Park going, keeps Prince's legacy alive, and also it means it gets talked about in the press, because obviously bootlegs, No one's going to be reviewing a bootleg. Sorry, in the press, in the Guardian, or the music papers, whatever. So it's not going to happen. So I think that's really that's a really key thing. I think we need the official product, and that's absolutely crucial, because without it, it's not really going to work. As Vash Christian says, a year without a quality prints product is a year wasted. It absolutely is, and I think that's true, absolutely true. PL, and that's why the estate should make up for the lack of releases with a streaming service. Yeah, we've said this before, that the NPG Music Club, whatever, or the streaming services, you can have a Prince streaming service. And there was a while ago, there was a radio station. There was Orange Park Radio, and I think there was also Emancipation Radio, which played Prince and Prince-related artists 24/7, 7 days a week. And the thing is, a streaming service, there should be a place, there should be a website you can go to. And basically, if you want to listen to a Prince song, you can do it. If you want to download a Prince song, you can do it. If you want to download a concert, you can do it. Bruce Springsteen does it. Lots of other people do it. It's easily doable, especially in this day and age. Most people are digital. They kind of, they survive online. So I suppose, having a website you can go to, having a website you can actually just say, well, if I want a Prince concert, if I want a Prince single, if I want a Prince live performance, I can go there, because all these Prince live performances, lots of them, audio and video, particularly audio, are on, YouTube. They're on various other places. Now, why not make the estate, why don't the estate put them in one place? Because first of all, it highlights the body of Prince's work. Second of all, it brings them money. Now, they can either let the bootleggers have the money, or let other people copying the music and putting it on YouTube have the money, or they can have the money themselves and put it in one place, keep it as a permanent library, if you like, of a one-stop shop for Prince. If it's Prince related, it goes on there. If it's a live show, it goes on there. If it's something from the vault, it goes on there. You could release something from the vault every week, quite frankly, even if it's just a song or a little jam or a little live something. You could do that, and just having that there, one thing. It's really really simple. Danny. Yeah. Springsteen did Hyde Park. A week later, you could buy the gigs. The estate have no excuse. That's the thing. This doesn't take a huge amount of time. To have a website, to upload these things, you can do it. I mean, there are people on YouTube now who will have a live performance in their collection. They'll upload it onto YouTube. It'll be up there within 20 minutes, half an hour. Now, the estate must be able to do that. It must have a website where they could do that. Or even if they want to put it through YouTube, whatever, but have a website where everybody can go. There's no reason why that can't happen. I really don't think there is. So, that's interesting. I think so. More Prince Estate coffee mugs. We need more coffee mugs. It's interesting, actually, because the one area in which the estate have certainly not let the grass grow under their feet is the merch. They have been relentless on the merch. I have to say that Paisley Park itself is obviously, whilst it's under the umbrella of the estate, is a sort of slightly separate concern. And some people say some very good things about Paisley Park and the way they run things. The merch has been off the charts. There's some things which people have sort of said, well, this symbol doesn't fit, or this isn't right, and various things which I understand. But also, it's interesting that if the music was coming out, I think we'd be less bothered about all the merch. But I think it really kind of rubs it in a bit, where you get the merch flooding through, but you don't get the music. Now, Prince is about music. Everyone knows that. That's the central thing. That's what Prince is. Prince is music. So, yes, the merch brings in money, and there's various arguments for that. And I think people won't mind quite so much if the music was coming out, but the music isn't coming out. So I think that's the thing, and I think that's a real frustrating thing for me. Now, this August is interesting, because if they're doing an announcement, and like I said, there's no official confirmation, but We've heard rumours it might be the 7th or 8th of August. We don't know what the announcement is, but you've got to assume if they're announcing a project in August, then you would assume it would come out, I presume, a couple of months, maybe October, November, just in time for Christmas kind of thing, I presume. But you know what? I've always wanted for Christmas, my Christmas personal, I'd love a DVD or Blu-ray, I suppose nowadays it would be, of the 21 Nights in London. I would love that. Absolutely love that. I don't understand why Prince didn't do it at the time, like that Christmas, but I would love that. I would love that for Christmas, just a 21 Nights DVD, some of the live shows, the concerts. If there's anything in the Indigo after shows, that'd be fantastic. You could even, if you want to do a super deluxe version of it, you could even throw in the 21 Nights book or whatever. Just I'd love that high quality. It was recorded every night. You can see it on the big screens, and it's going to be in great quality. It's going to be similar, I presume, to the Welcome to America shows in terms of quality. So there's no reason, and yet, it doesn't happen. Merch better than the MJ. I have survived this long by not getting involved. I have learnt very early on to not get involved in the so-called Stan Wars. But I don't know what I wouldn't like to speak for the MJ estate. I know, I'd say talk to Casey Rain. He knows about the MJ estate. I love the little tease with the mini 21 Nights documentary. Oh, I did. Do you know what I love? I don't know if anybody's seen this. Probably a lot of you have. Life of the Party, which is the documentary behind the scenes kind of. There's some bits of live performance, but it's bits of Prince behind the scenes. And there's one bit where he's in his dressing room and he's kind of dancing and singing. And it's just fantastic. And it's just brilliant to see Prince in those intimate moments, because we don't see that a lot. And nowadays on Netflix, you see stars like Pink and various people, and you see behind the scenes, and you see them in their lives. And Prince was very mysterious. You didn't really see a great deal of that. To see him backstage on Life of the Party, and to see a bit behind the scenes, I really, I would just absolutely love that. I really would. Joanna, I think most of the merch is not very pretty. I struggled to find something I like. Do you know, I was gutted because I'm a bit like you in that a lot of it, I didn't. Some was okay, but there was very few things I really, really liked, and I was really gutted because I finally found something I really liked. There was this kind of dark grey long sleeve T-shirt with the symbol on it in a dark color too, and I thought I really like that. So that's I like that. I'd love to buy that. So I went on the estate's website, and to get it to the UK, it was about $70, which for a T-shirt, is a lot of money to me. And I was really gutted because I really wanted it, but the postage and packing, the charges, various things, and that's before we get any potential import charges and various things like that, and customs charges. And I was just gutted because I really wanted that, but at $70, it's just, Rocket Pool obviously do some stuff, but they don't have that. And it's just, it's just frustrating for me why the estate don't utilize hubs, have a hub in, Holland, have a hub in the UK where they can send bulk loads of their stuff from, their merch, send it to the UK, and we can buy it directly without paying loads in charges, because suddenly a 20 quid or 25 quid T-shirt is suddenly £70, and also $75, and that's too much. You just want to make it easier for people to buy that merch, but like you say, I think I actually think personally, I see, now I've got to be careful how I say this, I see unofficial merch. I'm not condoning that at all, but I'm saying I see some of the designs. There's some I think actually they're quite good, and I think, well, why don't you, as the estate, use the fan base and say, send in a design. If you send in a design, we'll have a vote on it, and whatever the one that's best wins. I mean, you can even put it on their website saying, we've had, I don't know, here are the top 10 designs we've had for this, for a t-shirt or whatever. You choose, as the fans, you vote, whatever the number one is, we'll make it for you and we'll send it out there. Get the people involved. Because I tell you what, listen, not only are there amazing artists who work with Prince like Martin Homin and Afshin Shahidi, who's a photographer, you've got Spencer Derry. There's so many artists who work with Prince, but not only that, just people who aren't even artists, who just, well, they are artists, but they're not, that's not what they do for a living. In the community, just get the Prince fans to send in designs. So here are some designs. This is the best designs we've got, choose one. I would love to see that. Let's get the fans involved, because I've always said this and I believe this absolutely fully. We are without doubt the best people at spreading the word. When a project comes out, we will spread the word far and wide. It will go on Facebook, it will go on Twitter or X or whatever we call it now. It will go on Instagram. We will spread it amongst our friends. We will everywhere. So Prince fans are the best communication team there are. And I think that use us, engage with us. I really think, that would be amazing. I think a holographic t-shirt is pretty neat. I'm trying to imagine what that would even look like. Who knows? Who knows what the next thing will be? I mean, it could well be. I mean, yeah. I sure hope that a full version of that 21 Nights documentary exists and evolved, because the mini one is dope. And that's the thing. I mean, I don't know if they did. I hope a lot of the Indigo after shows were recorded. I don't know what was and what wasn't. I don't know if it's just audio or what, but we know for certain that all the shows are recorded. So, go for that. Just get that out there. I think that, we need to widen Prince's appeal. I was also interested in what you guys think about the Netflix documentary. Now, obviously, we've not heard anything for a while. I was just thinking about it the other day, because there's a Netflix documentary on pretty much everybody at the moment. There's Netflix documentaries on Queen, on Pink, on Taylor Swift, you name it. Every artist, they've kind of got these Netflix documentaries, and Prince hasn't. And they're working on it, but then we don't hear anything, we don't know anything. And you think about how huge these things can get. Now, for me, I've always said this: if you bring out a Netflix documentary, A, you've got to do Prince justice, and B, you need to have a series. It can't just be one thing. It needs to be huge. But not only that, you need to be ready, which means when the documentary comes out, you have product ready. You have people who are interested in Prince saying, here you go, here's this way in, here's this concert, here's this, this hits collect, whatever it is, you need to have stuff ready. So when the documentary comes out, people can, get into Prince. And I think it's a great gateway. It's a great opportunity. And it's a great way to kind of get people who perhaps wouldn't, they might know a bit about Prince. They might, the amount of people I've met a guy actually this week who knew Prince, and he knew the Prince songs most people know. It would be Purple Rain, When Doves Cry, Darling Nikki. It's the Purple Rain era. And I think, we need to make Prince bigger than that, because Prince was bigger than that. Prince, they always said he'd have this albatross around his neck, this Purple Rain albatross. And it's such a shame, because whilst it's phenomenal, there's so much other work and there's so many other things he did. It's just a bit strange to focus on one thing. It's sort of lazy shorthand. Prince is so much more. I think that's that's good. Danny, do you know what? I think you're absolutely right. This is a weird analogy, but I've had communications with some private companies recently, nothing to do with Prince, just and it's about managing expectation. Like if somebody says they're going to do something, you kind of know where you are, or it's when people don't communicate, that's when the real problems begin. And I think that's the thing. If the Prince estate communicated more and let us kind of more engaged, more involved, but also I'm not saying they have to lay out every detail. Yes, something's great to have a surprise. But sometimes we have things where they say, oh, here's a single. And you think, great, like the single, but then we're not going to release it for another 4 or 5 months. We'll take your money, 4 or 5 months time, we'll have a single. Well, by that time, the kind of buzz has worn off a bit. You kind of, it's been spread about because of social media and various other things. So you can't wait 4 or 5 months for a single. So I think it's communication. You're right. Communication is key. And it's about what people expect and what people think is going to happen. Now, I have to say, one of the big advantages, one of the big fantastic things for me personally recently has been it's given me a breather, a chance to go back into Prince's back catalogue, to go into Prince's live shows particularly, but also to listen to all the stuff I've got. Because it's easy for me to focus on whatever percentage hasn't been released, all the stuff in the vault. And I don't know what percentage it is. But, it's very easy to focus on that. But it's easy to ignore the vast amount of live shows, the vast amount of, I'm seeing stuff online that I've, every day, something new. The vast amount of unreleased tracks, the vast amount of demos, the vast amount of live performances. And it's given me a chance to go back and enjoy that, because ultimately, whatever we get from the vault, and it's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be amazing, we've probably got the vast majority of amazing stuff also out there now. There's so many things when you think about it, so many great songs, so many great concerts. And this has been a bugbear of mine. We need to get more live performances out there, because for me, Prince is the ultimate live act. So we need to get Prince's live performances out there. There's no reason why there shouldn't be a live performance of every single concert, every single tour he did, because Prince, once you see Prince, that's it. So I think that's an important thing to do. But it's a chance to explore those back catalogs as collections, because certainly in digital age, I know people who've got loads of files and they haven't had a chance to even listen to them, or they've got things on the computer they haven't listened to, or so just I use that as a kind of an excuse, not that I need one, to kind of go back and just dive into Prince, really dive in. I saw a photo of master videotapes of Prince's videos in the studio storage room in the Paisley Park files. After that Netflix docs, a lot of his videos need to be remastered in HD 4K. That's the thing, because there's so many videos out there. Like, for me personally, I'm a bit biased because I love the track, The One You Want to See. And obviously for ages that didn't come out. Then it sort of did come out. And, it's a full production video, good to go. And I think that makes you think, how many more are there? We've all seen these kind of quite grainy clips of P Control. I won't say that, but the song I'm talking about, P Control. And we've seen the video, sort of the grainy video for that. That's out there. There's lots of other videos he filmed, and people have mentioned it in books where, full productions, bands, full costume, everything that's out there. So, there must be master tapes of those. And I'm sure nowadays with modern, techniques, you can certainly, there's some things you may only be able to get to a certain standard, but you can certainly get them out there. And you know what? For me, even if it's a case of you can't get it to HD and you can't get it to the top quality, still release it. If you think it's not quite up to standard and you can't quite get the quality, put it out there still on YouTube, or put it out there on the website so we can experience it. I'd rather experience it than not. If you were, I don't know, into Van Gogh, or you were into, I don't know, Monet or some great classical painter, you'd still want to see sketches. You'd still want to see things that weren't fully completed. You'd still want to see things that, like, if you're into Leonardo da Vinci, you want to see sketches he made. Nobody goes, I don't want to see that Leonardo da Vinci. It's only a sketch. Of course not. You want to see it. You want to see it all. So, I was going to touch on this, but VC's right. Here's a challenge. We need to choose an unsung Prince song that need to find a unique way for it to go viral. Prince is widely respected, but needs a running up that hill moment. Now, I am recently, actually not that long ago, watched Stranger Things, and obviously running up that hill, the Kate Bush, it just became this anthem, this key part of Stranger Things. Sorry, Stranger Days is one of my favorite films. Stranger Things, and Stranger Things really boosted this interest in Kate Bush, and I saw a lot of people who are rediscovering her work or diving deeper. And you're right, and it's one of those difficult things because you can't plan it, But if Prince's music was used in movies more, then there's a much higher chance of that happening. And Prince has a song for every occasion, whether it's, love, hate, sex, revenge, you name whatever. Prince has, he has a song for every occasion, his heartbreak, whatever. So there's no reason why they can't be used. And I think if you push them out, there's three things that happen. First of all, for the estate, it's an easy way to make money. I mean, you just basically say to a movie, you can use Prince's song for this movie. It doesn't cost the estate a penny. You make loads of money, you get paid for it. Great. Second of all, it keeps Prince in the public consciousness. It keeps Prince as one of those artists. People go, I love that song. And then they go on Spotify, find out it's by Prince. Then Spotify or YouTube or whatever will suggest this. They'll get into the next album. And before you know it, they're down that kind of world of Prince and they're enjoying it and they're loving it. And it's fantastic. But thirdly, I think just it's that moment where it's easy to dismiss these things, but when you get the social media buzz, when you get a buzz on Twitter, or I'm still going to call it Twitter. I'm sorry. I know it's called X, but I'm going to call it Twitter. When you get this buzz on Twitter, you get this buzz on Facebook, when you get people talking about it, that is priceless. And you can't pay for that kind of, promotion. You can't, it's very difficult to make these things. But if you allow Prince's music to be used in films, there's a much higher chance of that happening. And Netflix documentaries and whatever, if you allow that to happen, there's a much higher chance of those things, of one of those songs, going viral. The ironic thing is obviously that he would fit very well into Stranger Things because of the 80s vibe. So there'd be lots of songs which would easily fit for Prince for that. So that's certainly interesting. I honestly think that 50 unreleased music videos figure is true. Oh yeah, I mean, easily. I think there's going to be a long scale. Some are going to be good to go. Absolutely. Some might be skits. Some might be, I think it's going to be a lot of little humorous pieces as well. Like Prince has done a few videos where just sort of the band mucking about and various things. But I think you're right. I think easily that. I think, I think that would work perfectly. I think Scandalous Bedroom Story could work in a hit romance Netflix film TV show. Scandalous is actually, I can think of a lot of Netflix shows where you could kind of use the Scandalous song kind of for these torrid affairs between politicians and celebrities, and I can see that. I can see that definitely. It's what these Stones have done with their Live Vault series. Some better than others, but you know what you're buying. Live from the Vaults would be a great series on all formats. Absolutely. I mean, we've all said one of the advantages Prince has, and I must apologize if I'm going on, it's Prince, I lose track of time. But one of the great advantages Prince has is that he has a vault like no other. There are some artists who have like one album maybe, in a vault, or they have a few songs. Prince isn't that. Prince has a huge vault. I don't think we've really had this situation before where you've got, you think of Queen or Michael Jackson, they don't have the vault that Prince has. And I think that's a unique situation. And I think that's a key advantage for the estate. I think it made it very difficult to value it because a lot of it's unknown. You don't really know. You don't really know what it's all going to pan out to be. But we have such a huge potential. And I think for me, a part of the estate is very much a custodian of classic art. It's like being in charge of a museum, the Museum of Prince, and you've got all these things and you need to do it justice, but there's a lot of things that you could go down, but there's a lot of work to do. And this is the full-time, job for many people. And I think, you really need to make the best of it. I think that's the thing, because if you must do justice to it. You must. Prince kept it for a reason. He knew it was going to come out at some point. He said in interviews before, and I think it's really crucial. You treat it well. You see these people with oil paintings and they've got the white gloves and things like that. And I think you need to do that with Prince's work. You need to treat it well, but you need to also get it out there. Because for me, Prince created his music to give joy and feeling and expressing emotions, and it was part of his life, but also to give it as a gift to people. And I think to keep it, some of it in a room, I'm not saying you throw it all out there without care, but I'm saying to keep lots of it in a room where no one hears it, it just seems, I don't know, it just seems weird. It just seems weird. It's like you've got this great thing that could bring pleasure to people who loved Prince and love Prince's work. And I think you've got these things, these projects, these songs, these videos in a room. Get them out there, please. Just let people hear them. Let people enjoy them. Because you know what? Life's, as Prince said, life's hard enough without cool words, and life's hard enough without Prince's music. Prince's music brings joy. And you know what? It's a win. It's one of those weird situations where everybody wins. The state wins because they get more, they get more income and they get more kind of publicity. And the fans win because they get to listen to Prince's music. They get to, it's helped people. I've met people. I won't name the person who it is, but they're a friend, and a certain Prince song literally did save their life. I mean, basically, it saved their life. Literally, not being dramatic. It was literally that situation. Prince is, can have a huge impact on people. And I think get it out there, get people to enjoy it. This is a positive thing. Let's share it. This isn't nuclear secrets. This isn't some terrible thing. This isn't like uranium or something. This is music. So just get Prince's music out there. I just, Stephanie. Hello, Stephanie. Good afternoon, my child. Good afternoon. I would like the estate to do more than what they've been doing. They did nothing all year, and the songs in the celebration is not enough. That's the thing. I mean, it was interesting for me, those two tracks they released, because they obviously weren't from the same era, but they it was a weird, I wasn't sure what the theme was. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't sure how they connected, which is a bit strange to me. It's interesting as well because Seven has had probably one of the most remixed Prince songs that there is. There's obviously the After Six mixes, the whole maxi single of 7 mixes. So it's interesting. Now, let me be clear. Anything we get, great, brilliant, fantastic, more brilliant. But I wasn't quite sure of the theme, and that was a bit strange to me. I know people are it's difficult because we've had all these years where we were waiting on the court cases and we were waiting on the whole estate to be settled, and then it was settled, and then there was the kind of change in ownership. And now it's split into 2 camps: the the record company side, to put it simply, and the family side. But it still feels a bit unresolved, like there isn't a clear plan. They say, well, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that. And do you know what I'd say? I'd say this: if you are trying to do all these things in the background and do all these contracts, and that's fine, and you long term, brilliant. But that does not mean you can't put out easy wins. That mean if you want to do that, fine. So we're doing all that, but for now, here's Montreux, easy, no problem, takes 2 seconds. Here's a music club, online, brilliant. Let's do that. There's no reason why you can't have quick wins. What you do is you manage expectations. You say, well, these things will take time, but in the meantime, we will make this project. We will do this project. We will release 21 Nights on, in London. That's quite easy. It's already filmed. We'll release Montreux. That's pretty easy. It's already filmed. There are lots of things you could release now, which are relatively easy to release, and you don't need to do a lot of stuff with, and it keeps people happy. During the meantime, it gives you time to do all these other complicated negotiations. I mean, God knows how long these things take. I mean, I know anyone who's dealt with lawyers will know these things can go on, but it just seems endless. I mean, it's been 7 years. But anyway, just get these quick wins out of the way. There's nothing to stop you doing that. And get the fans involved, but there's nothing to stop you doing that whilst you're negotiating these other things, it's just, I know, sorry. Thank you, Fast Christians. Thank you. Oh, I just wish more people got into Prince. They do not know what they're missing. I think that's what the estate is trying to do, is bring in more fans. This is quite personal to me because I started this channel 2014. Christ. Which means there'll be 10 years next year. And I started a number of reasons. I loved Prince. I wanted to talk about Prince, but one of the biggest reasons I started this channel was at the time Prince didn't allow anything on YouTube. He didn't allow his songs on YouTube, and so if you were into Prince or somebody wanted to find out more about Prince, they'd go online. They couldn't really get access to him like they would with a number of other artists. And I wanted to talk about him, and I wanted people to experience the music. And I thought, well, what can I do? I can't play the music. I can't play the songs. They weren't out there. So I thought I need to try and get Prince's presence out there, talk about Prince. And that's the reason I started this channel, just literally because at the time you couldn't go on YouTube and listen to all these Prince songs because he wouldn't allow. And I totally respect his stance for artist rights, and they should get paid a decent amount. And we're seeing this with strikes now and the writers in America. We're seeing it with Taylor Swift talking about certain things. We're seeing it with lots of people saying how much Spotify give, but their share goes to artists, which is tiny. All these various streaming platforms, people are arguing and saying they're not really, giving enough to artists. And I totally agree with Prince. And Prince was ahead of his time with that. Everyone knows that. Prince was hugely, hugely ahead of his time with that. He really was. I mean, it's interesting because he got so much criticism at the time for standing up for artist rights, and now everybody's doing it. Everybody's saying, artists need to get their share. Record companies shouldn't be getting as much. Streaming services should pay more. He was ridiculously ahead of his time. So I think, the danger or the problem of being ahead of your time is you get a lot of criticism at the time, and that's an issue. You get a lot of criticism then, and it's only later when people go, now we know what Prince is talking about. Now we know. But anyway, that said, I just think that that's really why I wanted to start the channel. And I think that's the thing. The top 25 video I just did on Spotify on my channel really was interesting to me to see what are people listening to on Spotify, because that's your selection sort of private in the sense you choose them. So I was interested to see, and it is largely Purple Rain. It is largely Purple Rain. There's the odd exception. Kiss is very well liked amongst people. Raspberry Beret, Cream, but it's quite interesting, when you look at that. And there's some songs on there which Prince fans love, which don't get, a huge kind of mention. There's lots of like Gold. Somebody was saying about Gold, and Gold is 63rd most listened to Prince track on Spotify. And it's interesting to me, and I think you've got to get more people interested. And it's difficult because I can see what they're doing. I can see they're saying, well, Purple Rain's what people listen to, so let's do that. But it can't stop at Purple Rain. It can't be the only way in. It can't be the whole thing. It can't be. You can't make Prince this one album guy, because, it's just not. It's well, I mean, lawyers are going to lawyer, as they say, and I mean, it's obviously, it's been 7 years. We want it sorted, and I know each thing has got its own complication. As SMS says, the Netflix documentary deal. Some people said that's caused a problem. As Christian said, standalone album. So I understand those points. I think it's not, for me, it's not one particular thing. It's not one particular thing. It's the overall package. There might be a specific argument for specific projects, but and if I don't know, I mean, I'm not party to it. I don't know how much effect the Netflix documentary has, but even if it does have an effect, why is that being held up for so long? It's a documentary, and you want to do it right, and nobody is suggesting that you shouldn't do it right, that you shouldn't rush it. You shouldn't, absolutely. But equally, it's been quite a while for the Netflix documentary. We're on the second director now, I think, and we haven't really heard anything. Some people have walked away from interviews and said that it wasn't going in the direction they wanted to go in, and there seemed to be a certain way it was being presented. We don't know. No one's seen it. We don't know how many parts it is, but it's not even scheduled. It's not like Netflix has said, "Oh well, it's going to be released in September." Nobody's heard anything. So even then, communication. If the estate came out and said, "Look, the Netflix documentary is coming out," boom, then that'd be something. But we haven't even got that. I don't know. I don't mean in a negative sense, but I think you need to push all this time. This should be people's full-time job. There should be the communication. There should be the promotion. There should be. Do you know what? This will sound weird, but you go on Facebook and you go on Twitter, and people talk about Prince in the most eloquent terms. You go on Facebook, and there are groups, and I'm in their groups with tens of thousands of members, talking about Prince, pictures, live performances, shows, you name it. You go on Twitter, there's the Prince Twitter thread series. You've got people like Vas Christian writing these fantastic articles on his website, welcometothedawn.org. Definitely worth checking out, welcometothedawn.org. It's with a 2. Brilliant. You've got people doing phenomenal work. You've got YouTube channels. We all know, like huge ones like the Prince Podcast, Violent Reality, doing incredible work. And you've got all these people in social media and stuff like that doing all this work. There's no reason why the estate shouldn't be doing more work. It's their job. We're doing it because we love it. We're doing it because we love Prince. We're doing it because we think that, Prince brings joy not only to us, but to other people. And I think that's a really amazing thing for me personally, is that you might like an artist and you might listen to them and think, oh, they're brilliant, fantastic. But then to sort of try and pay that forward, if you like, makes the world a difference. Because I was, I've always said openly that I was 14 and somebody kind of brought me into the Prince world. They gave me lots of albums. They talked to me. They were my mentor, I suppose, in a sense. And I just wanted to do that just to one person, and that would be worth doing. And I think, just bringing people in, and we all do that, and we talk about Prince, and we keep his legacy going. And now we may not be the biggest, fan base in the world, but for me, Prince is kind of different because people don't just like Prince; they really get into Prince. They know everything about Prince and the detail and the knowledge. It just use that. But also, if I was the estate, I want to be doing something every day. Social media, push it. You've got so much to work with. So many things that Prince did. Just so many different levels. It's just, it's just amazing. Great question. On a positive note, what was the last Prince song you listened to? Mine was Revelation. That guitar solo always hit hard. Was still making great music. Revelation is I think Revelation is one of those tracks where when people say, was Prince still doing good stuff, or what did Prince tail off, playing that track? This is very much at the end of his career, and it's a stunning track. It's a genius track. It's one of those tracks where you think, there's a line where he sings "An army of haters one by one," and it just sounds fantastic. And I think Revelation just proves that Prince continued to innovate, continued to do different things. He didn't just, as he said, after Purple Rain, make Purple Rain 2 and just carry on. He didn't do that. He could have easily done that. He could have said, well, I'm going to do what the record companies say. I'm going to do that. I'm going to, I don't know, I'm going to just do commercial stuff. I'm just going to kind of like release single after single, take it really slow. I'm going to do all that. He didn't do that. He did did what his art kind of dictated to him, what he felt he wanted to do. So Revelation is absolutely just a stunning track. I think it's quite interesting. For me, personally, the last track I listened to was The Future. The remix, the Mark Moore remix of The Future. As a great bit in that when it just goes bow 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 bow. I just loved the Mark Moore remix and The Future. It's when I got into Prince, that kind of 1989. So that was the last track I listened to, The Future. I still want it to be a Netflix documentary. I want the same treatment as Janet or the Wham documentary. That's the thing, because I've seen so many people online talking about Wham. So many people online talking about that. You've got to think about the effect that Bohemian Rhapsody had for, boosting even higher the profile of Queen. You've got to look at Wham. People are talking about it, and I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. And Prince has to be, I think, one of the biggest stars to not have a documentary on Netflix in the music world. Pretty much everybody has, and yet Prince hasn't. So I don't know. The last time I heard was Electric Intercourse. Oh. And on the official side, Stare. It's interesting. Stare was one of those things I mentioned in my video about the Spotify top 25 tracks, because Stare is really interesting to me, because Stare is 27. Now, Prince has 681 tracks on Spotify, and Stare is high up at 27 because Prince released it to Spotify. Now, it's got 14.4 million views, but only gets 800 views per day. So it's because of the effort Prince put when he was here into releasing it on Spotify. So it shows even Stare, as late on as it was in his career, when he released it to Spotify, with his backing, 14.4 million, it's the 27th most listened to Prince track on Spotify, which, when you think about it, is pretty impressive. I mean, it's ahead of Sometimes It Snows in April. It's ahead of Adore, ahead of The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, ahead of Seven, because Prince promoted it. So that's quite interesting. Stephanie, I want the Netflix documentary. Yep. I wanted to have multiple parts and to be about the most important thing, the music. And I wanted to draw new fans, Prince fans, or former fans to become fans again. That's the thing. I think that is a crucial point. It needs to be multi-part. You can't. I'll be honest with you. The problem with most Prince documentaries I've seen is that, and I'm sure you'll all agree, I hope, every Prince documentary pretty much I've seen has been the same. They follow him, they go, oh, this is Prince. Look, he came onto the scene. Oh, it's brilliant. For You, fantastic. Look, here's Dirty Mind. Oh, 1999, he's in the big time. Purple Rain, yeah. And then they'll sort of occasionally mention, like, Sign of the Times, Diamonds and Pearls, and they'll go, oh, and he did some other stuff, and they'll just skip over the last 20 years of his career. They'll just skip over it, and it's just bizarre. I don't know. It's just that weird chronology. I've watched programs, documentaries, which are about an hour long, and I would say they dealt with the last 20 years of Prince's career in about 5 minutes. It's just bizarre. I don't know. They just skip forward. There's this narrative that Purple Rain is brilliant, Sign of the Times, yeah, fantastic, yeah, Diamonds and Pearls did some great numbers, and then that's it. Usually they get to as far, if you're lucky, they'll get to like Emancipation, and that's about it. And I'll just skip forward. And the Netflix documentary has to look at all aspects of his life. And I think that's the key thing. So I think that you're absolutely right. I just that's so important to do justice to his whole career, because I've always said this, that, Prince is, every album is a chapter in a book, and you wouldn't just randomly grab a book and just go, I'm just going to listen to chapter 2 or read chapter 2 and chapter 17 and chapter 58. You'd read the whole thing. And with Prince, you have to listen to the whole thing to really understand it. And I think that the documentary has to do that. It really does have to do that. Artful, hello Artful. Agree, NT. So many concerts at Paisley Park. Where are they? They need to be available to purchase. That's the thing. It's so easy to do on a website. Just to say, here's a concert at Paisley Park. You don't have to charge a lot of money. You really don't. If you only charge, I don't know, whatever, you don't have to charge much. It could be £3 or £4 or £5 or whatever, and say, here's a concert from Paisley Park. If you want to download it in this great quality, give us £5. Do you know, that's fine. I think it's fine. Andy Allo did some concerts where, I forget what they're called, but basically concerts where she plays a concert and you just give what you think. You give what you can afford. You give a few pounds, a few dollars. And do you know what? For concerts, download those. Make that the option to say, I want to download a Prince concert. I go on there, £5, because either Paisley Park and the estate will get their money, or bootleggers will get it. Lenny, hey Lenny. Prince definitely needs a 5 to 7 part documentary. It needs to be an unprecedented release. It really does. It really does, because I'm slightly nervous, because this documentary could shape how some people think about Prince for the next 5 to 10 years, I really think it could have a big impact, because this is going to be seen as one of the most forensic and, detailed. I mean, you obviously got incredible detail in, like, say, Dwayne Tudor's books and things like that. But I'm saying in the documentary, this will really shape people's opinions. So it has to be right. Now, nothing's going to be 100%, and nothing's going to focus as much as we want on everything. But it needs to be done well, and it needs to kind of, be a situation where, it forms a great impression of Prince and draws people in, because you're absolutely right. They need to do it justice. That's really, really, really important. And I think God, they've got to do this right, because I really hope there's nothing to worry about with this documentary, because I really think this is going to shape people's opinions for, 5-10 years easily. I don't like the way they skip his later years in work. That's part of the problem. He is more than the Warner years. That's the thing. I think most documentaries, like I say, they very much talk about Prince's fight for artist rights. Some of them do, but they sort of stop at that point. A lot of documentaries I've seen have said, he fought for artist rights and then he got to release Emancipation, the end. And you think, well, it wasn't the end. That was not the Prince's career didn't stop in 1996. So yeah, if you stopped listening to Prince in 1996, you've missed out on some incredible music, incredible stuff. So yeah, just, absolutely. And I think, I couldn't agree more. Exactly the same as Pierre said, Prince's greatness didn't stop after that time period. It's unfortunately, I don't know if it's true in America, but certainly in the UK, our press are very much, they like to build a story. They like to say, you're on the up, you're at the top, and then we'll bring you down. It's very much the idea. You're either ascending, you're at the top, or you're coming down. They like to write these kind of rise and fall stories, like, oh, isn't he brilliant? Oh, he's at the top. Let's get him. And it's that kind of idea that, they just bring down. And they like to do that at Prince. They like to say, oh, well, he was brilliant in the 80s. The amount of people who people who just meet in real life, real life. And I mentioned, I like Prince, and they'll say, oh, Prince from the 80s. Like he was sort of in a time capsule in the 80s, and that's all that happened. Oh, yes. I'm going to have to invite Vas Christian on to do one of these shows. I think I should. Remember, the estate is only one component keeping Prince alive. As fans, we can do all kinds of things to celebrate Prince's work. Fan projects contribute a lot. Fan music, study, art, fiction. You're absolutely right. There are an incredible amount of, I don't know what you call them, creatives, I guess you call them, who create art about Prince, talk about Prince. But what I mean is, there's a full range of people. If you post a picture of Prince on social media, you're part of it. You're helping it. If you share a song of Prince, you're helping it. If you engage in a Prince discussion, you're helping it. you see these Prince parties where people meet up, which is always fantastic. I love seeing Prince people get together. People have Prince inspired designs. They write amazing articles. The kind of, you see the designs by people such as there's so many. If I start naming them, I'll be there all day. But just amazing art. And I think you're right. We, in a sense, shouldn't abdicate our input and our agency, because the estate is part of it. Yes, absolutely. And only they can kind of release official product, but we can do a lot. We can do a great deal. We are, the kind of Prince army, if you like, the kind of Prince world. And I think that you're absolutely right. We outnumber them, and we have incredible power. And I think to talk about Prince and to share Prince, we are amazing advocates for Prince. And when you see, people sharing Prince's work, that is a key part of what it means to be, part of this community. And you're right, we can do more in some ways than the estate. The estate can do the official stuff. That's easy. But when it comes out, we're the people who spread it. We're the people who talk about Prince. And we're the people who do the detailed things. It's not, I don't mean this in a bad way, but the estate are never going to be the ones talking the kind of detail that some of the podcasts go into, that some of the Prince podcast interviews go into, some of the Violet Reality interviews, some of the, the remarkable Prince Twitter threads. People aren't going to go, the estate are never going to go into that much detail. They're not going to sit down like the Symposium and talk to Jill Jones in incredible detail about everything, and I think that's they couldn't agree more. The worst Prince documentary ever was Purple Rain. It was dreadful. I'm trying to remember what that one was. I think I've wiped that from my memory. I don't know. I'm sorry to kill the mood by bringing this up, but how are they going to address the I don't want to say it, but you know what it is, because there's going to be backlash if they don't touch on it. If we're thinking about the same thing we're thinking about, it's going to be very difficult. It's difficult for a number of reasons. It's difficult because if we're talking about the same thing, and I apologize if we're not, that there's a lot still we don't know. There's a lot still we don't know. There's a lot we never know Prince's thoughts entirely. There's a lot we don't know. So I want them to be respectful. Because it annoys me because for some people, doesn't matter who it is, how they passed away becomes more important than what they did. And it's mad because obviously, Prince gave so much, but equally he, his life, he worked incredibly hard. That must have taken a toll. He worked incredibly long hours and, without getting into it, I think they need to be respectful, but I think they need to address it. And perhaps it's interesting that this happens in a sense that lots of very driven artistic stars are under so much pressure, and it's going to be very difficult. I think that's the bit that I don't envy the directors for, and I think they've also got to be careful because it's still not a resolved investigation. I mean, I don't know. I say resolved investigation. I mean, it's not. We don't have all the answers, and I expect they're going to have a lot of legal issues with that. So, I just want them to not be salacious. That's the main thing I want them to be, not be salacious. Ben, hello. I like the Black Album. I would love it to be released again, as I had it when it was available in 1994, but lost it when I moved to Essex. Oh, no. Do you know what? I've personally always wanted, I think probably one of my most wanted super deluxes would be the Lovesexy Black Album. I think if you put those two together, that would be brilliant. You can have the light and the darkness, the black and the white, the good and the evil, the kind of dichotomy of the Lovesexy concert shows. And I think having the Black Album as part of that set, I think would be brilliant. I would love that. I think the designs you could come up with the Lovesexy Black Album. You know what? Again, I would put this out to fans. I would say, we're going to put out a Lovesexy box set, and do you know what? We want you to send in your designs, and we'll pick the top 5, and we'll have a vote, and that will be the design, because I think you could do some amazing artwork with that and some amazing concepts with that Lovesexy and the Black Album together. I mean, the only danger about all this is if all this comes out, I'm going to be absolutely bankrupt because I would just have to have that. So that's the dangerous thing. So please bring it out, but give me time for me to recover from the Netflix likes drama. Well, this is the thing. I mean, without being, there were some great things on Netflix, don't get it wrong, absolutely. But you're right. Obviously they're in the sales business, if you like. They're in the sales business. They want to get viewers on screens. But I would hope that the estate have enough control and enough things in place that they have to sign off on the project. And if they're not happy with it, then hopefully they will say something. But not the end. I mean, the other thing. Well, that too, but the other thing. I'll probably dig myself a hole. I mean, you probably shouldn't. The Black Album remaster would be cool. Yeah, if they do a bundle, I would love that. I would love that. I mean, I'd pay for that so much. Oh man, seriously, it would be just fantastic. I really would. I hopefully they do. And do you know what? That's the thing. There's so many projects and there's so many things that they could do. For me, this is the most frustrating bit. There's a sense they're not getting on with it, in the sense that there's so many things. You think, okay, Diamonds and Pearls, yeah, great. That'd be a fantastic box set. Brilliant. You got the Purple Rain 40th anniversary. Okay, cool. Do a great job on that. Brilliant. The Love Sexy Black Album combination. Yeah, brilliant. You know, superb. But you know what? You've got so many other things as well. And that's the thing. You've got so many other, you know, box sets. You've got that kind of beautiful era, the kind of gold experience era. You know, I'd love that. Act One concerts. You've got, you know, One Night Alone era. You could do a whole thing on that. You know, Musicology 3121. I mean, you know, the hit and run phases. There are so many box sets and so many things. And that's before we even get to, like, you know, I mean, like I said, there's still, you know, the early albums, you know, For You, Prince, Dirty Mind, Controversy, you know, Around the World in a Day gets overlooked a real lot. Parade for ages. Everybody thought Parade was going to be the next one. Everybody thought Parade, yeah, that's going to be the next box set, surely. And then, you know, that hasn't happened yet. You know, you've got the Nude Tour era, you know, the Symbol album, you know, the Come era. There's so many potential box sets. There's so many potential live shows. I want live shows left, right, and center. Put them all on a website. I want them all, you know. But just, yeah, I would. It almost could never be enough, because you just look at the amount he has created. I mean, sometimes it just absolutely racks my brain that one human could have so much creativity. I don't understand how it's possible. Because also one of the things I loved about Prince was it wasn't like guitars. He never just played a guitar solo for the sake of it. He played the best guitar solo that would fit for that particular song. He was at the service of the song, and I think that's the thing. He just the creativity was insane. I don't think, you know, we'll never see anything like it. I don't mean to be bad, you know, sort of down note, but we'll never see anybody with the kind of relentless, driven creativity of Prince. He could have easily said, he could have slowed down, he could have said, you know, but he couldn't, because it was within him. It was like he said, his toothbrush would start buzzing. It was just in his soul. He just couldn't stop. He was an artist, you know. He would have done this, I think, whether one person listened to it or 10 million people listened to it. He couldn't stop. He wasn't someone who's going to go off and lie on a beach. You know, he just wasn't. Love it. Yeah. That's the thing. As long as there are people here who will defend when Prince is wronged, when people say things that are just inaccurate, or they try and change history. I mean, debate is one thing, that's fine. Talking about what you like is one thing, that's fine. Having different opinions about eras, that's fine. But when people try and sort of change history or say things that just didn't happen, or that's a different thing. And you know, it's fine for people to make a mistake. I don't want anybody being jumped on because they made a mistake. But then when you're presented with the facts and the evidence, and then, you know, then you kind of have to look at it and think, oh, actually, you know, I wasn't wrong, because no one knows everything. But yeah, I think Prince's legacy, I think, should grow and grow and grow. I think we are only beginning to understand how incredible he is. Sparota 91. I may be way off topic. That's fine. We don't really have a topic. It's fine. And Sync here, but I would love to see the Love Symbol album repackaged with the original segues. That era deserves more respect to general. You're absolutely right, because people talk about the Diamonds and Pearls era, but they don't talk about the Symbol era as much. And I personally, that era meant so much to me. That meant so much to me. I remember reading the liner notes on a bus. Actually, I remember it clear as anything. And do you know what? I just love it. I absolutely love it. And you're right, the original segues, the kind of talking about the chains and the kind of story of the little boy playing with the chains and those things. And I think, also that whole era, the kind of Act 1, Act 2 shows don't get enough talked about. And I'd love to see a live concert of the Act 1, Act 2 shows, because those are really overlooked in Prince's canon. I think they're really overlooked. I don't know why. They're phenomenal shows. When you see Prince performing She's Always in My Hair, or you see Seven, or you see, there's lots of tracks you see, where you see My Name is Prince, Sexy. I just think that's an amazingly overlooked era. And you're absolutely right. It deserves a lot more respect. And I would be quite happy if they did that next. I would be very happy. I'll be honest. I really would. God is Alive. I love God is Alive. I listened to God is Alive a few days ago, and God is Alive is just, ever since I saw that clip on the Omnibus documentary, just incredible. He was like a water fountain. He was. He couldn't stop. He could not stop. I mean, I think the thing about geniuses is they are relentlessly productive. When you talk about Mozart, when you talk about Da Vinci, when you talk about anybody like that who are just relentlessly, it's like they're kind of, it's something beyond human almost, in a sense. They're just relentlessly focused and creative and driven, and it's just true. Funk, gospel, house, lovers rock, new jack swing, prog, psychedelic soul. The amount of ground Prince covered on that album was ridiculous. It was reggae with Blue Light. When I think of the Symbol album, when I think of the guitar solo, 3 Chains of Gold, I think of the horns, Sexy MF, and the Max, and seriously, I could talk about that album. I just love that album so much. I really, I just think it's amazing. I really, 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 really do. Act 1, I think Act 1 was very overlooked. Love it. I think it's just, I don't know why it gets overlooked. I mean, I love his look at that time. I love his kind of whole, he was just really going for it. And it was very, the thing about those shows, they're very theatrical. There's a lot of stage kind of, it was like a theatre. There was lots of show going on, and I just think that was just, something that was really overlooked. And, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I think with any artist, there's always there'll be something negative that people will, come from. I mean, it's just sadly the way of life. Prince has brought me nothing but positivity, friends, joy. My mental health has been so much better because of Prince. So all those things. So for me, I'll always be eternally grateful. I think no one's perfect. No one, obviously, in terms of, there's all things that we probably think, I should have said that to that person, or I should have thanked that person, or I should have, appreciated that person. I mean, it's difficult. I think particularly with Prince, because, working with Prince must have been so intense. I mean, you didn't stop, did you? I mean, you worked 18 to 20 hours a day. You just, it's just, but for me, Prince has just been nothing but positive for me. I'm incredibly lucky. I could have got into anybody, when I was 14 years old, I could have followed any artist. And luckily Prince found me, in a sense, at that time. And I'm so lucky that journey I've been on, because I could have got into an artist who did one album and that was it and whatever. But I was so lucky that I happened to get into the greatest artist there ever was. And I'm thankful for that every day. I'm a fan of the Typhoon, even when it got out of control. The look, the sound, everything. The Typhoon. Only Prince could do a Typhoon. Other things in train already from the estate. I'd like to purchase some more of the reissues, but unless there are extra goodies, it's hard to find the motivation. And that's the thing. They are reissuing Obviously a lot of the albums, and I think it's important to have all those albums out there should people want to purchase them. I think you want to make it so every medium is available if people want them, whether that's on streaming, whether that's on vinyl, whether that's on whatever, CD, whatever. I think, yes, getting them out there, particularly some of those harder to find Prince albums, because there's lots of Prince albums which are still difficult to get, associated artists as well, which is still difficult to get, and I think that's tricky. Obviously, we're hoping with this announcement will shed some light. The announcement, hopefully we think early August will shed some kind of light on what their plan is. I think having a plan will just make such a difference. It really would, because that, to me, we know what to expect. We don't need everything spelled out, just an idea that there is a plan and these things are going to happen. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, if we get an announcement that's a big announcement, like a super deluxe or something, then that's going to be interesting. I think the reissues are important in the sense of they give a focus. But again, I think the estate are missing a trick. When you have a reissue, use it. What I mean is, don't just say, "Oh, we've got a reissue. Here it is." That's fine. Get it out there. Brilliant. But get people to write some articles about it. Get people to, it doesn't have to cost you anything. It's simply not true that it has to cost you loads. You could reach out to the fans and say, "We're reissuing the Come album. Would you like to write an article about it? We'll choose some and put them on the website. Would you like to, I don't know, do a little video about the Come album? We'll put it on the website. Would you like to kind of, do some kind of promotion and get people engaged and just make a big thing of it and bring light to those eras, so you can really use those." I think what Paisley Park needs is just a lot more. Well, I say Paisley Park, I mean the estate. Obviously, they're slightly separate things, but it's just a lot of promotion. I think that's a good point. Vanity 6, gets missed off. The Time gets missed off. Madhouse, the NPG. There's so many things that just get kind of just, Jill Jones and Richard Vez, you name it. It's just, it's a lot. Have a lot of original pressings. Thank God I got Rave Into and One Night Alone when I did. Rave Into, at one point, that was going for a serious amount of money. There was a time when Rave Into was, you could easily spend hundreds. There was a time when Rave Into was out of the reach of most people. It really was. And it was interesting to see that reissued, because that got overlooked because a lot of people couldn't afford it or see it. And to be honest, Rave Into, I really enjoy Rave Into. Quite frankly, if the only change was Beautiful Strange, I'd be happier. I love Beautiful Strange. I think it's a very Prince track, if you like. It's just quintessential Prince. So I think that's key. Before I go, I should go in a little while. I should just say that thank you, because you really cheered me up tonight, you guys, and I owe you so much. And you really made me feel better tonight. And you really kind of cheered me up, and you're my guys, and you absolutely just made my night tonight. You really kind of, you're always there, and I really do appreciate you and the support for the channel. When I first started up, I always thought if I got 2 people watching, I've done incredibly well. And it's been 10 years next year, and I can't believe I'm still here. And it's you've seen me through some pretty difficult times, and I just want to say thank you, because you are the reason this still keeps going. It really does. And thank you so much for everything you do, and every support you give to the channel, and every comment. And you just mean the world. I really can't thank you enough. I hope you have an amazing day, and you promise me one thing: you'll play some Prince today or tomorrow, depending on your time zone. Play some Prince tomorrow, because it will make your day better. Whatever it is, pick a track, pick a random track, pick anything, play some Prince, and you will have a better day. And I think that's just the key thing to say about this. Prince, music is medicine. Music is medicine, and Prince's music is positivity. Prince's music is everything. And that guy, wrong side, that guy there changed all our lives. And do you know what? The other thing is, that guy is the reason we are talking tonight. That guy is the reason we're here. Without him, all these people from different countries, all these people from different backgrounds, different beliefs, different everything, wouldn't be here. Prince did that. He brought us all together. And for that, he continues to give, continues to, to make our lives better. So I just want to say thank you so much. All right. You take care, and I love you guys. Thank you, Revolution 86. Thank you. You take care. Thank you.